I've been thinking about nucleus overload and how the same principles could be applied to learning, and in my scenario, learning art. So, with nucleus overload, the concept is that you're banking up myonuclei, or you're simply gaining tonnage. You're using what recovery you have left to gain tonnage, and it's low quality tonnage, but it still adds up in the end, right? And that's what you're using nucleus overload for. So take, if you want, say you had lagging calves and you wanted a way that you could introduce tonnage to your calves without spending an excess of time in training and having to reprogram around calves, right? You'd introduce nucleus overload to give you an opportunity to hit calves while not taking away from the rest of your training, right? And not taking away really from your recovery, which is the most important part, I think. Anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit. How does it relate to art? It's the concept of low quality tonnage adding up over time. So I guess an equivalent could be something like draftsmanship practice, relatively mindless, not completely, but relatively mindless practice, copying from reference, draftsmanship practice, that kind of thing, just drawing lines, working on how you hold the pen, on how you move the pen or pencil over the paper, that kind of thing. And I think there was a technique that Proko made a video on. I think it was called meditative drawing. That to me is kind of an equivalent to nucleus overload in art, right? Or like that is an example of how nucleus overload could be related to art. I don't know the kind of name I'd give it. I wouldn't call it meditative drawing because it's not limited to just that. Maybe I don't know, I'll think of something. But yeah, it's that concept of just getting that extra kind of mileage in, but where this can kind of get a bit dangerous, I guess, or I feel the need to warn myself of the fact that, as with nucleus overload, in the same way that it can edge into your workouts and kind of, if you're not careful, you can end up replacing your workout with nucleus overload, in the sense that it becomes all nucleus overload. Natural Hypertrophy made a great video on nucleus overload, and Team 3D Alpha, I think that's his name, he's made numerous videos on it. But it can kind of, if you're not careful, replace your workout more than you'd want it to. And so you change that by just being careful, in the same way that this kind of mindless meditative drawing, whatever you want to call it, relatively low quality practice, you wouldn't want that to replace your actual quote unquote workouts, right? Your periods of focused study. You wouldn't want to say you were just like copying faces, right? You wouldn't want that to replace an actual study of an actual weakness you had, right? Like analytical, actual study, focused study. You wouldn't want to devote that time to just doing relatively mindless drawing, right? So that's something to be mindful of. These concepts are all kind of, as of right now, not useless, but they're less important than the main kind of thing that I need to work on myself personally, which is discipline. Don't get me wrong, I do more work per day than I guess the vast majority of others do, but in this industry, in this art, in this part of the art industry, you need to it's kind of a necessity that you go above and beyond that. I'm not saying that, you spend 12 hours a day, in focused study, because that's just not going to work for anyone, is it? But there definitely needs to be some sense of pushing the envelope on what you think is like an average amount of work to do, right, or a decent amount of work to do. There definitely has to be that present on a daily basis. And there are a lot of other factors in life that can kind of contribute to your ability to do that. The kind of the wholesome lifestyle practices, right? Like waking up early, good diet, exercise, all that kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, in the same way that nucleus overload isn't really, it's a supplement to a workout, right? It's not the actual workout. The same way that, waking up early, getting a healthy diet, these are supplements to help you, do the things you want to do, right? Get the amount of work done that you want to get done. So yeah, there is always going to be that kind of element of needing to, get it done, essentially. And I know there's been so many people that have tried to explain how to become more disciplined, and it always kind of boils down to just do it. The old saying, which I've not found a way to really get around, which is, I guess, kind of the beauty of having discipline, right? It's not something that's easy to do. By nature, it's not easy. So I think that simply focusing on how to get more disciplined might not get you more disciplined, because the only way to get disciplined is to be disciplined, which is a difficult concept, and it can either be a very demoralizing concept or a very encouraging concept. So I'll choose for it to be encouraging to me. So that's really kind of the main problem right now. All these other concepts are kind of gonna need to be laid to the side until that's sorted out, or if not sorted out, but if that's when that's adequate, when it's brought to an adequate level, which it currently definitely is not. And maybe figuring out the reasons to why is important, but just do it. That whole saying, that does work as well. I started drawing with my right hand again. I got a new cast placed on today. It was a good day, overall. So I'm drawing with my right hand again. It's going pretty well. My speed's picked back up. I've learned a decent amount just from drawing with my left hand. It's kind of interesting what limitation can lead to. They say that invention, like limitation or necessity or something, is the mother to invention, right? So there's definitely some truth to that. Tomorrow, the goal is to do what I say I will in the morning. That's the only goal, really. Cool, bye.